Have you ever noticed that right when you think you've got your life figured out, everything starts crumbling? Like you're finally making progress on your goals, your relationships are stable, work is going well, and then bam, it's like the universe hit the chaos button. Your car breaks down, your boss becomes impossible, that relationship you thought was solid starts falling apart, and suddenly you're wondering if you're cursed or if life is just playing some cruel joke on you. Here's what's wild. This isn't random, this isn't bad luck, and you're definitely not cursed. What's happening is actually one of the most predictable patterns in human growth, but nobody talks about it because it feels too uncomfortable to acknowledge. This video isn't about toxic positivity or telling you everything happens for a reason. It's about understanding why your life seems to implode right when you're on the verge of something better. And more importantly, why recognizing this pattern will change how you handle every difficult moment moving forward. Let me paint you a picture. You decide you want to get healthy, so you start eating better, working out, getting your sleep together. For the first few weeks, you're crushing it. You feel amazing, you're seeing results, people are noticing. And suddenly, everything starts going wrong. You get sick, work becomes overwhelming, family drama explodes out of nowhere, and maintaining those healthy habits feels impossible. Or maybe you decide to level up your career. You start networking, updating your skills, applying for better positions. You're feeling confident and motivated. Then, your current job becomes a nightmare. Your confidence tanks, rejections pile up, and you start questioning if you're even capable of more. Sound familiar? Here's what's really happening, and this is the part no one tells you. When you start genuinely changing your life, you're not just changing your actions or your circumstances, you're changing your identity, and your identity doesn't go down without a fight. Think about it this way. Your current life, even if it's not perfect, is familiar. Your brain has spent years building neural pathways around who you are, how you operate, what you're capable of. It's created this elaborate system to keep you safe and predictable. So when you start acting like a different person, someone healthier, more successful, more confident, your brain hits the panic button. Your subconscious mind is like an overprotective parent. It's not trying to hold you back out of malice, it's trying to keep you alive. And in its ancient programming, change equals danger, new equals unknown, unknown equals potential death. So what does it do? It starts sabotaging. Not consciously, but through this subtle psychological warfare that makes everything feel harder than it should be. It amplifies every setback, makes every obstacle feel insurmountable, and whispers those familiar thoughts. See, you're not cut out for this. You should go back to what you know. At least it was safe there. But here's where it gets really sneaky. It doesn't just mess with your internal dialogue. It actually influences how you perceive and respond to external situations. When you're in resistance mode, you're more likely to notice problems, less likely to see solutions, and more prone to making decisions that confirm your fears rather than your potential. That fight with your partner? Maybe it would have happened anyway, but your stressed out, change-resistant brain turns it into evidence that you're not capable of having the relationship you want. That rejection at work? Normal part of the process, but your brain files it under proof you should stop trying. This is why everything seems to fall apart right before breakthrough, because your old identity is literally fighting for its survival. Here's what nobody tells you about growth. It's messy. Like, really messy. We see people's after photos, their success stories, their highlight reels, but we don't see the chaos that happened right before everything clicked. That entrepreneur who built $1 million business? They probably had 3 months where everything they touched seemed to fail. That person who lost 100 pounds and kept it off? I guarantee there was a period where they gained weight back and felt like giving up. That couple who has the amazing relationship? They likely went through a phase where they questioned everything about their compatibility. This breakdown phase serves a crucial purpose, though. It's not just random suffering, it's your life reorganizing itself around your new identity. Think of it like renovating a house. Before you get the beautiful new space, you have to tear down walls, rip up floors, live in construction dust and chaos. It looks worse before it looks better, but that destruction is necessary for the creation. The same thing happens psychologically. Your old coping mechanisms stop working, your familiar patterns get disrupted, your comfort zones become uncomfortable. It feels like everything is falling apart because, in a way, it is. Your old way of being is dissolving to make room for who you're becoming. But here's the crucial part most people miss. This isn't a sign you're going in the wrong direction. It's confirmation you're going in the right one. The tragedy is that most people interpret this breakdown as failure. They think the chaos means they made a mistake, took a wrong turn, or aren't meant for something better. So they retreat. They go back to what felt safe, even if it wasn't making them happy. It's like being in labor and deciding to stop pushing because it hurts too much. The pain doesn't mean something's wrong, it means you're about to bring something new into the world. I've seen it happen over and over again. People who were 3 months away from their breakthrough give up because month 2 felt impossible. Relationships that could have been extraordinary end because the growth phase felt too uncomfortable. Dreams get abandoned not because they were unrealistic, but because the person couldn't handle the temporary chaos that comes with making them real. The people who make it through, who actually experience the breakthrough, aren't necessarily stronger or more talented. They just understand that the falling apart phase is part of the process, not evidence they should quit. They've learned to recognize the difference between intuitive, "this isn't right for me," and resistance-based, "this is too hard." One comes from wisdom, the other from fear. One guides you toward alignment, the other keeps you trapped in mediocrity. There's actually a beautiful logic to why everything falls apart right before it gets better, and it has to do with how transformation really works. Real change isn't linear. It's not like climbing a steady slope where each day is a little bit better than the last. It's more like a spiral staircase. You keep coming back to similar challenges, but each time you're at a higher level. Right before you break through to that next level, life has a way of presenting you with a final exam. It's like the universe is asking, are you really ready for this new version of yourself, or are you going to retreat the moment things get difficult? This isn't some mystical test. It's actually very practical. The challenges that arise right before breakthrough aren't random obstacles. They're specifically designed, by the circumstances of your growth, to develop the exact qualities you'll need to handle your new level of life. Want a better relationship? You'll face situations that require you to communicate more clearly, set better boundaries, or trust more deeply. Want career success? You'll encounter scenarios that force you to become more resilient, confident, or strategic. Want better health? You'll face temptations and setbacks that teach you the discipline and self-compassion you'll need to maintain your transformation. The falling apart isn't punishment, it's preparation. So how do you actually handle this phase when you're in the middle of it? When everything feels like it's crumbling and every instinct is screaming at you to give up? First, recognize it for what it is. When chaos hits right after you've committed to change, don't interpret it as a sign you're on the wrong path. Interpret it as confirmation you're exactly where you need to be. Your old life is making room for your new one. Second, get comfortable with not knowing how it's going to work out. The breakdown phase is uncomfortable precisely because you can't see the other side yet. You're in the messy middle where the old way doesn't work anymore, but the new way isn't fully formed. This liminal space is where all transformation happens, but it requires faith in the process. Third, focus on who you're becoming, not what you're losing. Yes, it's uncomfortable when familiar patterns dissolve. Yes, it's scary when you can't rely on your old coping mechanisms, but instead of mourning what's falling away, celebrate what's emerging. Every moment of discomfort is your new identity being born. Fourth, expect the resistance and plan for it. When you know that chaos is part of the process, you can prepare for it mentally and emotionally. You can create support systems, develop coping strategies, and remind yourself that this too shall pass. Here's what happens when you push through the breakdown phase instead of retreating from it. Everything suddenly clicks into place in a way that feels almost magical. That career move that felt impossible becomes obvious. That relationship dynamic that seemed so complicated resolves itself naturally. That health goal that felt overwhelming becomes your new normal. It's not that the external circumstances changed overnight, it's that you changed, and your new internal state creates new external possibilities. But here's the beautiful part. Once you've been through this process a few times, you start to trust it. You begin to see the breakdown phase not as something to fear, but as a reliable indicator that breakthrough is coming. You develop what I call chaos confidence, the ability to stay calm in the storm because you know it's temporary and purposeful. You start to understand that your capacity to handle uncertainty is directly related to your capacity for growth. The more comfortable you become with the falling apart phase, the bigger transformations you can handle. This is why people who've achieved significant success often seem so calm in the face of challenges. It's not that they don't face difficulties, it's that they've learned to interpret those difficulties differently. They see chaos as a harbinger of change, not a sign of failure. Once you understand this pattern, everything changes about how you approach growth and setbacks. Instead of seeing difficult periods as evidence you're failing, you start to see them as evidence you're evolving. Instead of retreating when things get messy, you lean in with curiosity. Instead of fearing change, you start to trust your ability to navigate whatever comes up. You realize that the goal isn't to avoid the breakdown phase, it's to move through it with grace, knowing that breakthrough is on the other side. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop problem solving. It means you stop interpreting every obstacle as a reason to quit. You develop the emotional intelligence to distinguish between healthy course correction and fear-based retreat. You also start to notice this pattern in other areas of your life. Relationships often get more difficult right before they reach a new level of intimacy. Creative projects often feel impossible right before they become masterpieces. Spiritual growth often involves periods of confusion and doubt right before moments of profound clarity. Here's the truth no one tells you. The people living the lives you admire didn't get there by avoiding the breakdown phase. They got there by recognizing it, accepting it, and pushing through it. Every success story has a chapter that goes, and then everything fell apart, but I kept going anyway. The difference between people who achieve their dreams and people who don't isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the willingness to stay in the game when the game gets uncomfortable. Your breakthrough isn't on the other side of perfect conditions. It's on the other side of chaos. It's on the other side of doubt, confusion, setbacks, and all the moments when quitting feels like the most logical option. The falling apart isn't the end of your story. It's the turning point. It's the moment your old life steps aside to make room for everything you've been working toward. So, the next time everything starts crumbling right when you thought you had it figured out, remember this. You're not falling behind. You're not cursed. You're not doing it wrong. You're right on schedule for something beautiful. If this resonated with you, if you're in that breakdown phase right now and needed to hear this, let me know in the comments. Right, I'm ready for my breakthrough. Because sometimes we need to declare it out loud to make it real. And if you know someone who's in the middle of their chaos phase, someone who's questioning whether they should keep going, share this with them. Sometimes the difference between giving up and pushing through is simply understanding what's really happening. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. The chaos is confirmation, not condemnation. Trust the process, trust yourself, and remember, everything that's falling apart is making room for everything that's about to fall into place. Stay strong, stay patient, and I'll see you in the next one.